What do you think about the new litter box for cats that flushes into the toilet? This thing is crazy. I don't know if anybody's seen it. It's called the Cat Genie. And it looks kind of like a little potty that you set right down beside your own toilet. And it does two things. First of all, when they get in it, this big sort of like mechanical arm thing will come out and scoop out the turds. And it puts them into a little container full of a solution that kind of emulsifies them and turns them into liquid. And then it also has water that comes and flushes through the granules, and the granules are not like clay litter. They're washable granules. So the water will come and flush through these granules, and it all empties into your toilet. So the turds get scooped and disintegrate, and the granules get flushed so there's no urine smell in there. So, and this it's taken a while to get to this stage. There used to be, and there probably still is, a type of a cat toilet called a litter robot, where there was no flushing of the granules. There was just regular litter that you would put in it, but an arm would come and kind of scoop away the clumps and the turds, and they would go into a bag that you could then empty. And there's another one called the Breeze system, where the turds you actually still had to scoop, but the urine would filter through these special pellets down into a compartment below, which you would then empty the compartment a couple times a week. So all kinds of new innovations in cat litter boxes. My answer to the question would be, if you have a cat who is currently going in your litter box and there's no problems, I would not rock the boat. I would not change a thing. Urinating and defecating outside the litter box, also called inappropriate elimination, is literally the number one reason why cats get turned into shelters. So if you got something that works, I would not try one of these new cat litter boxes. Now, if you got a kitten, and kittens are pretty adaptable, and you want to try the Cat Genie, go for it. But cats and their litter habits are a big deal. In fact, let's go ahead and we're going to talk one more time about cats and their litter boxes. And the thing to keep in mind is, if someone asks you, how often do you flush your toilet, you would hopefully answer every single time that you use the toilet. And we all know how disgusting porta potties are. So we don't want our cats to have to live like that. So then that is at the core of the cat litter box problem, is that we expect our cats to go in these dirty litter boxes. And a smart cat, I think, would just say, hey, I'm just going to go over here in the corner instead because it's stinky in there. So, and you got to keep in mind too, a cat's sense of smell is way, way, way more sensitive than ours. And they're naturally really, really clean. So dirty litter box smells disaster. And if you think about wild cats, they would not be, think about like a bobcat. They wouldn't be confined to a little tiny 1 foot by 2 foot bathroom and have to walk around in their own waste. They would just go to someplace else to go potty. So that is why cats end up going behind their sofa or in another area of the home. And we have some friends who we have given 2 or 3 cats that got dumped at the animal hospital. We've given them to these family friends of ours. Amy and Rich, you know who you are. And they call every time their cat goes to the bathroom where it shouldn't. They call and blame us. So this one's for you guys. Main reasons why your cat is going to stop using the litter box. We just hit on one, a dirty litter box. You got to scoop out the litter box. Honestly, I do mine once a day, but if you're having issues, I would scoop it out twice a day or even more. And one thing that goes along with dirty litter boxes, you can't put a kid in charge of the litter box. A lot of times, it'll be your kids will say, Mom, please, can we get the cat? But you cannot count on a child emptying the litter box. You got to have an adult scooping the litter box out twice a day. I also would not recommend using a hooded box. We like the hooded boxes because they keep the odors from reaching up to our nose. But, that the hood just makes it stinkier in there for the cats to have to go in there. So scoop them a lot. Make sure that someone who's an adult is in charge of it, and use the open boxes. The other thing that's going to cause big problems is if you choose the wrong form of litter. You got to make it someplace that they want to go. And I feel like clumping litter is still the way to go. The one exception to that rule might be if you have a really young kitten, like under 6 weeks of age. Little kittens sometimes will have temporary bouts of diarrhea for various reasons, and there's not as clean, so they're more likely to step in it, and then they end up with messy little cement boots if they're using clumping litter. So, and some of them will even try and eat the litter. But for most cats, I would use clumping litter. And the reason for the clumping litter is that you can scoop it out completely. And we'll come back to that. We'll hit that a little bit harder. But the clumping litter doesn't have, it can be clay. That's the kind that most people use. There's also corn litter now that's clumping. There's wheat clumping litter. There's pine clumping litter. If you're going to use pine, you want the clumping pine and not the pine pellets. And there's even one called Smart Cat that makes sort of a grass form of clumping litter. So clumping litter, make sure that it is unscented. Cats, again, have a really strong sense of smell, and they're going to be put off if there's a scented litter or a perfume or a deodorizer. The point of scenting the litter is to mask the odors, and really the best way to keep the box odor-free is just to clean it. So odors need to be removed, not covered up. One other thing, the litter needs to be deep. And I used to put 2 inches of litter in my cat's boxes, and now I've moved up 3.5 to 4 inches. You want it to be really deep. And here's why. Clumping litter doesn't work if the litter is shallow enough that the urine actually goes to the bottom of the box and you have to scrape it off. You're scraping and you're breaking apart the clump and you're spreading the waste around. So the whole point of it is that you want the waste to be suspended in the litter and not reach the bottom of the box. So it needs to be really, really thick. And the reason why I have changed my tune on that is that I have several litter boxes in my house, and there's one that's closer to where I keep the litter. So I'm lazy and I tend to fill that one higher, and I've noticed my cats all go in that one. They don't want the boxes that don't have as much litter in them. So one other thing to think about, litter mats are nice. I think they're nice for the cats and for us. And when I say litter mat, I'm talking about a mat that you put at the opening of your box to decrease the litter from tracking all over the house. And it's kind of nice for your cats to have like a place to wipe their paws. But don't use the plastic grass mats, because those have little bumps on them and they're uncomfortable for the cat to walk on. So sometimes the cats just won't even go in the box at all. And if you don't have the money to invest a fortune in your litter box, just use a carpet section, but something for them to clean their little paws off when they come out. And that's also nice for us because we don't have as much scatter. And I would not use the litter boxes that have the plastic liners. Those liners are annoying to the cat because they get their claws stuck in them. So, and just one more time, an uncovered box. And you also want it to be a big box. They can get claustrophobic when they're in those little covered boxes. And also, if there's a bully cat in the house, it might actually wait outside the covered up box to pounce on your cat when it leaves the box. Then you might hear the wimpy cat get in the box and scratching, and they'll just come over and stand there. And the poor cat that's in the box isn't going to feel comfortable getting out. It'll kind of get trapped in there, and eventually he's going to say, hey, forget it. I'm going to go do my business elsewhere. And again, the cover might cover the odor for us, but it's trapping it in there, so your cat has to smell it. Another problem we see big time with litter boxes is that they're just not in the right location. You want them to be in a quiet, low traffic area. You don't want to have the litter box right near their food. That's not going to turn the cat on. Just one more thing I want to mention is the number of boxes that you have. You need a lot of them. A lot of cats are not going to go in a box if it's been used by another cat. And some cats like to urinate in one box and defecate in another. So the general rule of thumb is that you want to have one box for every cat in your house plus one extra. So you got 3 cats, you want 4 boxes. You got 4 cats, you want 5 boxes. And you don't want to stick them all in exactly the same place. Especially, a lot of times people will get young kittens, or they'll adopt adult cats from a shelter, and they'll take them and put them in this huge environment. The cat will come into the house in the kitchen, and the litter boxes are all way on the other side of the house. So a scared cat or kitten isn't going to venture out, to go to the bathroom. When you bring in a new pet like that, you want to initially keep their world kind of small. Keep them in a single room, put a litter box in there so they'll know where it is. And then after a while, you can gradually let the cat roam around and have more room in the house. And even if you have a super social kitten or cat. I wouldn't just turn them loose in a house and expect them to know exactly where the litter box are. They're not going to remember. Okay. For example, think of yourself. If you went to someone's house, you might not remember. If you're in a mansion, okay, the bathroom's down the hall, second door on the right. Cats can't do that either. So they need to, at least initially when they enter a new house, they need to be kept in a confined space and know exactly where that litter box is. And then they can venture around and find other boxes as well. And keep in mind, if you're doing all these things with the litter boxes and your cat's still having a problem, it's always possible that there could be a medical condition. Diabetes, bladder infection can cause a cat to stop using the box. So definitely if you see your cat passing small amounts of urine and getting in and out of the box really frequently, bring them into the vet because there could be something going on.